Hello and welcome to chapter 190 of the DC Alliance podcast. With me, as always, is Joe. Joe, how you doing today?
Oh, not too bad. Had 2 weeks off. I'm back to work this week, so that's always good.
Woo-hoo.
Until Friday, and we'll see what happens with potential strike. But
Ugh.
yeah, it's not looking good. We are nowhere. General Motors is nowhere near like even
Close to your
negotiating.
demands? Yeah.
Yeah, it's so far apart. But like Ford and Stellantis, yeah, whatever, Chrysler are
Yeah.
they're kind of on a good page, but no,
Okay.
us we're nowhere near where we want to be. And last time we were out for 40 days. This time, who knows?
Let
But how are you doing?
I'm doing a little bit better than that. I back to work again Monday. Fun catching up on the things. Work is okay. Working from home is put on definite hold. I went and met with numerous
Boo.
people last week. The manager who didn't say anything, uh, and then the director who did tell me what it was like. Told me there was 10 people ahead of me on the list, which that kind of sucked, but
Oh, okay.
she did give me the forms to fill out to put myself on the list, though.
Yeah,
So
but at least now you know that once somebody comes off of at home work, next one goes on. Like it's a
yeah,
list. That's great.
or there's a budget coming down, so they may get more room for
Sure.
equipment, right? Because I was given equipment, but it wasn't supposed to be designated for me. And she was like, "I'm sorry, I didn't give you the proper like the message you were looking for." I'm like, "No, no, no, it's okay. I just
You
want
got
a
an answer. That's the thing.
I just want a clear explanation." I was like, "No offense to the other manager I spoke to." I was like, "He just ran around in circles and said basically hyped me up, saying there was a good opportunity." I was like, "I'm
Yeah.
glad that you spoke about this," and I was like,
It,
I will thank you for giving me the forms. I will fill those out and put myself in just so that I'm in there.
yeah,
I was
you
like,
got an
but
answer. That's all you needed.
other jobs come up every day, Joe. Like I go in every morning and I look at the job bank internally. So if another buyer position, which is a work from home position, comes up, I'm going to jump on that
There you
regardless. So
go. There you go.
but still, it's okay. I'm excited to talk DC, like Andrew said in the chat.
Yep. What's up,
Hi,
Andrew?
Andrew. We got a teaser trailer. Of course, we weren't going to get a full trailer tonight, Joe. It's us, DC Alliance. It just cannot happen.
We definitely start thinking about maybe moving to Fridays.
To get more, especially when Gunn starts dropping his.
Well, not only that, but also with like the current, like we got Doom Patrol coming up. When did that drop? Usually, I know, we're still waiting, but
Yeah,
that
that's true
dropped
though.
on Thursdays. So
Yeah,
like we're gonna have to have some serious talks with internally here soon.
upper management
Yeah.
about it. Yeah, but we're a little ways away from that. We have an Aquaman film that we were remarking on. Nothing has been dropped for it. They're finally going to drop a trailer on Thursday. We got a little 30-second teaser right now that myself and Joe are going to talk about. But before we do all that, I'm going to get the network plugs out of the way. We are part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance with 7 shows in total. On Mondays, bi-weekly, it's Ranger Alliance. On Tuesdays is DC Alliance. On Wednesdays is the Animation Nation. On Thursdays is Star Wars Alliance. On Fridays is Marvel Alliance. On Saturdays, bi-weekly is a walk through the multiverse. And Sundays, monthly, is World's Finest True Believers. DC Alliance goes live on the Geekverse YouTube channel Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Star Wars Alliance goes live Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And Marvel Alliance goes live Thursdays at 9:10 p.m. Eastern Time. All three of those shows also have their own podcast feeds. Search Marvel Alliance, DC Alliance, and Star Wars Alliance if you just want Marvel content, DC content, or Star Wars content only. But if you want all 8 shows on the GWA Podcast Network, stay subscribed to GWA on your podcast app of choice. We also have a Patreon, 2 tiers, a $1 tier and a $5 tier. The $1 tier is basically a tip jar. You like what we're doing, you want to help us out any way you can. And the $5 tier is where you get your extra. You get your ad-free episodes, early access episodes, and Patreon exclusive episodes. Myself and Joe are going through the DC films through the years. Our latest entry was Steel, which was supposed to be posted 12 days ago. We recorded it, I want to say 15 days ago. I edited it right after we recorded it. It was sitting in my computer, patrons, and I forgot to upload it. I only just realized it today, getting ready for this show, and looked up at the Patreon and realized it wasn't posted. So that's up there now. You'll get another one from us this month to make up for, I guess, a lack of one last month, technically. Although there's already one for this month, I guess, but you'll get another one to make up for that. So stick with myself and Joe as we go through all the DC films through the years. We also have the Marvel Alliance guys, Chris and Brent, doing their Infinity Saga rewatch. So stick with them. They're covering the entirety of the Infinity Saga. We have Clay going through shows for the first time, Katie going through Star Wars comics with her husband, and Joe's Multiverse Minutes, which is due to kick back up again for that Halloween Madness month that he has in a couple weeks.
But
So I'm sure he's very prepared for that.
30+ days of Halloween, sir.
Yes,
Say it
sorry.
right.
I like Halloween Madness too, because it is chaos and madness because
Sure,
you're
it's
posting daily. But
I've already got a few under my belt. I got a few recorded because peek behind the curtain. I record these a little early because I'm putting out one a day.
yeah, you're not going to record one a night
I can't. I physically couldn't.
and then edit.
Yeah, but I've definitely already watched a few good movies that I'm really excited to talk about. So we will, if you're a patron at the $5 tier, you can get that starting the September the last Sunday of September.
Okay,
I can't remember what day that is.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the day. I'm like 30th. Yeah, I think it's the 30th.
No, it's not 30th because it's a full week.
Okay, I keep looking at my calendar to sign things, so I forgot. But anyway, we thank
24th.
patrons.
There
24th. There we go. We thank everyone that's a patron. But if you're not a patron, if you take a quick 30 to 60 seconds to rate and review the podcast on your podcast app of choice, is always greatly appreciated. It helps other people find the show, and that's always a great thing. Okay, Joe, we got a teaser trailer for Aquaman 2. Like I said before, I knew we weren't going to get a full-on trailer. The day of. I think that only happened once with Joker. I think, or actually, not even happened. The trailer. It was the announcement of Joker 2. I think that happened on a Monday.
Okay.
That's the only time that I remember big time news dropping day of. But we got a little teaser trailer.
Well, we did get while we were recording the news that Gotham was canceled, or Gotham Knights was canceled.
Yeah, that huge. But normally we don't hit, like Joe alluded to, we don't hit the news exactly out. But we got a teaser trailer that drops, so we're going to talk about that. I'm going to share my screen and put that up. Just give me a second here.
1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000.
You're a good man, Joe.
I'm doing pressure. Give me the pressure. All right.
Okay.
I'm ready. Let's do this.
You have to add it, okay?
Okay.
Tell me when.
And it's up.
Okay. 3, 2.
In 4 days.
Visuals again. That just reminds me of the first film.
I think actually that was from the first film.
Trench, right? Here?
That looks like the trench, but also looks like somebody. Yeah, those guys look like the trench. It looks like somebody's leading them out.
And then we have Aquaman here, essentially just shouting as he's going to swim off. The effects still look fantastic. I don't know. This is a ship piloted by someone, correct?
Yes, there's somebody back there right behind Orm. And then obviously the next scene is them grabbing Orm. I don't know who it is. It's a good possibility. It could be that, and I can't remember his name, but the guy that Randall Park plays at the end.
Dr. Steven Shin.
Thank you. Him.
Yeah.
Could be him, especially since he was working with Black Manta.
It's true. That is definitely a possibility. I know he's going to come back around in this film. And like Joe said, the robot or the ship with Dr. Octopus arms reaches out and grabs Orm there. It's a pretty nice shot. And then Aquaman, Black Manta is there with the scar over his face saying he's going to destroy Aquaman and take away everything that he loves. And then we get a shot of Aquaman running up onto, and with him is Nicole Kidman's character. You're going to get her name for me. I can't remember.
Yep. Queen Bashira.
Queen Nicole Kidman. AMC lady. But yeah, Nicole Kidman's character is with him there as he's running up. I'm not sure. I thought you mentioned that you might have saw his father as well. I think this possibly.
So it's right here, right as the house is burning.
Because his house is on fire.
You can't, and maybe even the lighthouse, because the lighthouse was attached to it. Whatever. You could see somebody coming out of the doorway.
Let's see. Yeah, you're right, but we don't know who that is. And then we have a cool shot of Aquaman riding this seahorse that is famous in the comics. I think it looks so cool.
Atlanta is her name.
Okay, Atlanta, Queen Atlanta. That makes sense. I should have known that. Whoops. Yeah, sorry
Whoopsie.
for a second.
Now you pause right here at this scene
Yeah.
with Atlanta climbing something.
Is it
Um,
Atlanta?
yes, it is
Okay.
because it's all white.
Yeah.
It looks bad.
Yeah.
I'll be completely honest. The CG right here looks bad, but this is a teaser.
I thought I'm not gonna lie. I thought this was just a different race of like underwater, like a different type of species. I did not know this was Nicole Kidman. That's how bad this looked to me. This
I'm
looked
pretty.
like she was like a
I'm
fluorescent green fish monster. That's what I thought it was.
well, maybe she's turning into one.
Possibly, but no, you can see her hand right here that looks completely white and completely human. While the rest of her, we have passed
Well,
on a very terrible time for them.
there is a green glow on her. So, like I said, whatever she's climbing, it's gonna be a machine of some sort. Obviously, the glow is coming up. The CGI just doesn't look good right here. Now,
Yeah,
again, this is a teaser. They're going back for reshoots. They're going back to fix things. Although I think there was a report that came out today that all the reshoots aren't because of CGI. It's because of story.
yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
But,
they
yeah.
have time to fix the CGI up to like pretty close to the
Oh
film.
yeah, like week before. Even.
We have a picture of Aquaman here just standing, fighting a gigantic beast. Another shot that looks great. Obviously, Paz doesn't look good, but I thought it looked great when watching it live. And then we get some fantastic visuals, and we get a showdown at the end there with Aquaman fighting Black Manta with Black Manta's giant, what looked to me like kryptonite. Kryptonite.
It was not a trident, yeah.
Yeah, kryptonite dagger trident thing. Joe, I think this looks good. I'm excited for this film. I gotta ask you, what do you think of what we saw? Did you enjoy it? Are you
I'm looking
excited?
forward to the movie, regardless. Like it's a DC movie, so I was already gonna be happy to watch it. I enjoyed the first one. It was I'm not gonna say it was a surprise hit, but I had a lot of fun with the first one. This one, I'm not saying they're taking a serious tone, but
there's more serious stakes.
There's serious stakes. That's a good way to say it. Especially when you have a scene where his childhood home is being burnt to the ground, and his dad possibly is getting killed off. I don't know. I honestly, it's gonna be one of those things where we were discussing it before we got on. It's gonna open up on the 20th of December. It's got a 5-day weekend basically, because the 20th is a Wednesday. The next movie coming out is The Color Purple on Christmas. And there's really nothing else out in December that I could see quickly looking. Like, in theory, this should do good. And I'm looking forward to it. However, the fans are like, I'll wait till, similar to Blue Beetle, I'll wait till it's on Max. I don't care anymore. So
DC's taking hits
left and right. Like I want it to be good. I want this, and it may be good. Will it be as good as the first one? In theory, it should be better. But with all of the behind the scenes stuff going on, I feel like that's going to bleed out into the movie itself, and it may take a couple hits, like story wise, because, for example, everybody knows about the Amber Heard stuff, and everybody heard about her being pulled from the movie. I
had to look away. I had to look away for that one.
Oh well, no, I wasn't saying that. But like, because if they can't get her out of the movie organically, like if she's like, "Oh, I am here," and nope, I gotta go over here now. Like, it's gonna, it'll be bad. That's all I'm saying.
Let's hope they have a story reason why.
Correct.
Yeah,
but no, I'm looking forward to it. I don't know. What are your thoughts on it?
First off, Andrew says, I want it to be good, but I don't have high hopes. I really enjoyed that trailer. I thought visually it looked stunning, like the first Aquaman. I thought like visually and VFX for the first Aquaman were out of this world. How they went underwater, and honestly, they showed it better than what Zack Snyder had planned for underwater, like the way they communicated that. And it took a lot VFX wise.
I feel the same way. It looks okay, but I feel like with all the production drama, it could be terrible. And I'm not gonna say terrible. Terrible. I won't use a terrible word, but I think it could, like I said, bleed into the story and actually affect it that way.
The visuals are one thing that could bring in some, like the international viewers. Like, it's not as much story as the crazy visuals, like kind of similar to Avatar in a way, like the underwater
Okay.
world and Aquaman. So that's
Well,
one
and
of
the
my thoughts.
last the first one did a good job, I thought, with
I think
how
this
they
is going to be
explained the
a good
underwater.
film, Joe. I think this is going to be Black Manta's revenge. We got to remember that Aquaman basically left him to watch his father die, and he had to leave his father that died. So yes, he's a
Very
villain,
true.
but in our eyes, like if any of us had to watch that exact same scenario play, wouldn't killing Aquaman consume all our lives? So, like, yes, he's evil, but what Aquaman did was stupid at the time, and may
But he
come
was a
back to bite
cocky
him.
he was a cocky son of a, at the time. So
And in DCU, dead parents are like uh, easiest thing, like it always happens. So,
I mean, it's how they become the superheroes. Their parents have to die, or their girlfriend gets shoved into a fridge.
and he's so angsty, and he got both his parents alive. I'm like, dude, like, come
For
on, like,
now,
but like even before, like going around drinking my beer, like, oh, come on. On the game says, where will this rank in terms of review scores of all this year's DCEU movies, box office expectations?
I think it's gonna be
Um,
low. If I'm being
I
honest, because what was Blue Beetle? Blue
Blue Beetle
Beetle
is a B.
was
Well, I'm just
was a
going to do
B.
cinema scores for a B plus.
Okay, Flash
B
was
plus.
Shazam: Fury of the Gods.
I think it was a B, maybe B
Black
plus, and
Black
Black
Adam.
Adam was B or B minus, one of the two.
Okay, well that was last year, so we
I
can we
think.
can
I
scratch
think.
that.
I'm not
So
not a,
they're B. I would rank this. I would think they'll probably rank it in the C's, if not a B minus.
I could see this being the best ranked of the four from some, and some saying this is terrible. I do think this is going to do the most money of them on the game. I
Really?
think partly yes because of the international. Nothing to do domestically. I don't even think this might be the top domestic DCU film, but I do think international is going to push this up quite a bit just because of how
Honestly,
much
it
this
may
person.
with nothing else around it, it may be the top DC film here, like
And on the
domestically.
game says DCU brand is poison at the moment. Can't see this one doing 300 million in China like the first one. Only Avatar 2 has come close to doing that kind of number since 2020. Yeah, I don't think it's going to get that high on the game, but I do think international is going to contribute. And we can't forget how absolutely horribly awful DC's box office has been this year. It's been an absolute dumpster fire since the Batman. And even like,
Well, yeah, because they only had the
yeah,
Batman came out February last year, and then the next movie was Black Adam
yeah, Black
because
Adam.
everything got bumped.
Yeah, Black
So,
Adam. We had Shazam, The Flash, all of them. Dud, dud, dud. Not what they expected. Not what they expected. Not what they expected.
well,
So
but also again, it hurts that you had. And I'm not saying we need to do the Marvel thing and have a movie every 3 months. But like you had the Batman, its own thing in February, and then 8 months later, here's the next DC project. Being Black
Black
Adam,
Adam.
which was a look, yes, it's a critical failure. I had fun with it when I watched it. But I haven't watched it since.
Yeah,
So
yeah. It was like
there
good
was
when I
nothing to
watched
draw
it,
me back to it.
but there
Yeah.
was nothing like special about it at all, which kind of sucked.
Yeah.
So we'll take our first ad break of the evening. Listeners, we're an ad-supported network. We don't pick the ads or the volume. I'm going to give you a quick 3 count to adjust your volume, and we'll be right back in 3, 2, 1.
Bye, Andrew.
And we're back. Okay, Joe. Um, let's just speculate. What else do you think we're going to see? It says here the trailer is going to be played on Thursday Night Football. They think because the teaser was played on Sunday Night Football. Do you think we're going to get a whole story trailer? Or because I don't know how many more trailers we're going to get before the film comes out. We only have 2 months here,
Because
so
usually you'll get a
just
story trailer and you'll get a
you get a mishmash trailer first, like
okay.
of different things cut together. Like, kind of looks like a story trailer a little bit, but things are not what they seem. Usually, by the third trailer, it used to be 3 trailers, and by that third trailer was the story trailer to bring in the general audience. But that kind of seemed to stop a little bit. So,
Well, because the last couple times they threw out a ton of trailers, movies kept getting pushed back,
yeah.
and then they just either refilmed stuff and made things. I'm not gonna say worse, but and maybe that's why we haven't gotten anything from this movie yet. Like it's because they've been refilming everything, and I don't know. Like I think it will be a story trailer. I honestly
Yes.
think it'll be a story trailer. This
We
this
call
close to the movie, why not?
on the game says expect them to give the whole movie away in it. Yeah, I call that
Yeah,
the
anymore. Yeah.
doomsday effect or the doomsday experiment. When they put doomsday in one of the trailer for BVS, I was really disappointed in that
Oh
because
well.
I basically knew then that okay, at some point we're going to get a resolve of differences, and this is what they're going to fight here. And I kind of had a feeling after reading comics what was going to happen here when we have these two set up. So yeah, that was a little bit of disappointment, but and that happens. Like same thing with the Spider-Man trailer the No Way Home one with Iron Man. Like they gave away a hell of a lot in there. I was so happy they didn't give away the whole Vulture, and the director was as well. I was scared they were going to give away that.
Oh, you mean Homecoming? Not
Yeah,
okay.
Homecoming. Sorry, not No Way Home.
Like No
Sorry.
Way Home. Iron Man wasn't in No Way Home. He was already dead.
No, I'm confused. But yeah, the trailers, like all the game says, I kind of started to expect them to give it all away here. There's not a lot given away,
Anymore?
but
Yeah. Like
you know what Aquaman 2 is Black Manta is going for revenge on Aquaman. That's essentially the story. With
sure,
Aquaman has to work with his brother and stuff. That's different elements in the story, but that is the crux of the story. Is Black Manta is coming for Aquaman?
but there's a lot of movies that have been coming out lately there, and I was trying to think of one off the top of my head, but and I couldn't. But there were I think it actually was like Renfield. Renfield
Mhm.
was one that I saw the trailer, looked amazing. Went and saw the movie. Literally everything in the trailer was the movie, with the exception of a couple
Couple
things.
things.
But like, yeah, and that's fine. Like which is one of the reasons why I've been like kind of not watching trailers as much lately. Like
Same,
if we didn't have to for this, I wouldn't watch the Aquaman trailer
same. And
because
I think someone posted in our chat. I want to say the final Loki season 2 trailer. I didn't watch that. I didn't need to. Like they
I
have
didn't know it
my
was out.
money, yeah, and I'm like I'm not going to watch that to go forward. I'm already going to watch that show, and I don't
Yeah.
cover Loki for any podcast. So bam, that's perfect.
Well, I did the same thing for Rebel Moon when the
Yeah.
trailer for Rebel Moon came out. Like, I'm gonna watch it. I don't need to watch the trailer to get me hyped up for it. I'm already hyped to watch the movie. I
And it'll
don't
be a
need the
pretty
trailer.
cool experience going like blind like that. That's
Yeah.
something that like
Well,
is
I've
few and
I've
far
since
between because
I've since watched the trailer because my neighbor asked me about it, and I'm like, well, I haven't yet. And he's like, oh man, you really
they
should. I'm
do
like, okay,
VFX
fine.
on that one.
He might have.
Oh man.
he works
So
he works with Snyder. Like, what are you gonna do?
that's pretty awesome. I bet you
Yeah.
he's not yelling at him like Disney. Uh, I guess we'll go on to our second topic, Joe, which is we got a season finale for My Adventures
Yeah.
with Superman, and off the top, I want to jump in and give with my thoughts, and that is I
Oh,
really enjoyed this season finale.
I thought you were gonna give me props because I called it.
Oh, we're going to get to that too. We're going to
Okay.
get to you calling it when we talk about the episode. Going to give you your moment to shine here because I take my moments to shine when I call things. I really love this episode. I love the whole thing, not just with Clark and Superman, but Clark's family, Lois and her father. There are so many elements. Even the Jimmy stuff at the end, I could not stop. I could not help but laugh at. There was a lot that happened in this 20 some odd minutes of animation that I'm excited to talk to you about because I don't think there was a wasted moment here.
No.
Yeah, really enjoyable, and I cannot wait to see what is going to happen going forward because I do think that there are two bad guys that could be coming in in this next season. I think there was not just one bad guy, but two bad guys that were alluded to in
Well,
the
we definitely had the illusion of one, and we'll get
yes,
to that
but I
when we
think there
start
was a
talking
second
spoilers.
one as well.
Okay. We'll
Yeah,
talk about that here in a minute. Dude, I'm right there with you. I loved it. I loved the whole season.
yeah.
I know we said in the beginning we were reluctant,
Mhm.
and we started watching it, and we fell in love with it. Like everything that this show was doing, start to finish.
Yeah,
And if you look back on it, nothing is a filler. Everything comes
Even
to
stuff we
head.
complained about,
Yeah.
now going back and looking at it after getting a little bit at the very end that we think it is who we think it is,
Uh-huh.
you're like, okay, all
It all
that
makes
makes
sense.
more
Yeah.
sense now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everything that happened, worked out, especially in the two-parter, the 1 2-parter from a few weeks back, and then the finale. Like everything led to the finale, and it was a good show. And that, again, we said it earlier. If you're not a huge fan of anime, you might have trouble following the art style.
But
But
I feel like the love of just a Superman character, like they got a
correct.
lot of these characters in Superman lore. Really, they done them justice, in my opinion.
I mean, they changed a few of them up. Like Ivo was
Yeah.
definitely never
Oh,
Parasite,
I
but
meant the core
but it
three. The
worked.
core three.
Oh
The
yeah,
core
those three were
three. Yeah.
great.
Yeah. Just meant
And
like they
yes,
really did
the
good.
the thing with Jimmy at the end, just nonchalantly dropping that, was just like, okay, yeah,
And you're not sure because you think you might get in trouble. But we'll get
right.
into that. Yes. But yeah, really enjoyable. I agree with you, Joe. It is like chef's kiss and something that, like Joe said, we kind of scoffed at after watching the first episode. We're like, I don't know.
Yeah,
But
it was fine. Like I'll check it out, but it's not top of my list. And then by like episode 3 or 4, I'm like, holy crap! I'm watching this as soon as it drops.
I watched this a second time before tonight just
Nice.
because I wanted to
I
get
probably
back
should
into.
have, because I watched it last week, but I
I will
couldn't
be
get the channel.
our guide here because we're going to jump into a whole lot of this episode because, like I said, I don't think that there was much that was wasted here that we will skip over because Clark's immediately having visions slash nightmares of Zero Day,
Hmm.
which is pretty cool. And he goes to speak to his father in the fortress slash ship
Yeah,
and
because he thinks his dad has sent him
doing
here
all
as like a an envoy to take over the world.
kind of like Omni Man.
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah.
Well,
Or Goku.
Goku would be a better example. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I really enjoy that. He wakes up terrified. He does not want to like have anything happen here like happened in Zero Day, and he doesn't even know the bombshell that Jimmy and Lois have, which is that sphere showing another alternate reality where Clark is Superman is evil and killing
Yeah.
people. So he still has that hovering over his head that he doesn't even know about. And we go right away to all three of them at the Daily Planet. What do you think about this, Joe? Where they got promotions, they're all part of the reporting crew, and they got their first byline, which basically built to from episode 1 to now.
Um, I understand they're a team. Like
Hmm.
they've been built as a team since the beginning. But what did Clark do during all of that? When Lois was recording and putting it out there on Flamebird, what did Clark do? He wasn't
Hyped it
there.
up.
How did he get promoted? I'm just kidding. No,
Hyped it
it
up.
he typed it up. Okay. No, it's like it's wonderful. It's one of those things where and Perry even said, like, you guys are terrible interns. Like, you're
Yeah.
supposed to be doing the intern stuff, and you're out in the field. The only thing I can do is promote you. Like, here's your desk. Like,
You could
stop it.
fire them too, Perry. There's more
Well,
than one
no,
thing
because
you
he
could have done.
recognizes how good of reporters they are.
That's
That's the
true.
thing. That's
Yeah.
that's the big point, and he doesn't want to lose them.
No. And yeah, I really like this. I love how all the different reporters are congratulating him. The wolf hugs Chewie. You see a little toy wolf. I
Oh,
love that.
Steve. Yeah, that was pretty fun.
And they're asking like, "What can we do, Chief?" And he's like, "No, get out of here. Go enjoy
It's
your
Thanksgiving. It's
Thanksgiving."
holiday. Go. Yeah.
And Clark has agreed to have him and his family host Lois, and Lois's father, and Jimmy as well. Before
Yep.
Jimmy can get out of there, he's told to hold up by Chief and to talk about Flamebird. And yeah, we go on to like we go right to the um, Thanksgiving, which that doesn't go over too well. Joe, what do you think about
Every
Martha meeting Lois's
that
father?
um the fact that, like, the minute they walk in, everybody is having a crisis with something
Hmm.
is a lot of fun. When the general gets there, because I freaking called it.
Yeah,
Um,
take your lap, Joe.
woo! Like, it was just hilarious because obviously Clark looks at him. He's like, "Holy shit, that's the guy who was screwing with me," but he can't tell Lois that right now.
No,
And then, like, as you said, Martha was talking to him, and he's treating her not. He's not disrespecting her,
no,
but at the same time, he's not really giving her anything to like bond over.
Let's just say Sam Lane in Lois as Superman Lois would be considered Santa Claus compared to this guy. In terms of how lovey or how
Wow.
interactive he's being. Yeah, and Sam Lane is pretty stone cold in Superman and Lois, but no, this guy's
Well,
giving
yes
nothing.
and no. Like he actually in the first season, he was definitely like uh all
He's nice to
military.
he's super lovey to the kids and that. I'm just saying, like, compared to him, he's Santa Claus.
That's
This
fair.
guy is
That's fair.
stone cold. Like, doesn't even like not even be nice to Martha. Just being like, yeah. Uh. And then Jimmy comes in, and this is one of the things I laughed at so
That
much.
was great.
Everybody pulled Jimmy to the side to tell him a secret, and I love how Jonathan Kent's like, "Jimmy, I got to live with you. Bird is not getting up to temp." Like of all the things, like a lot of things for Jimmy to worry about, and Jimmy takes Lois and Clark outside, and like, "You guys are going to talk about each other right now, and we're going to get this out of the way." But things kind of shuffle around, and the ball comes out, the sphere with the kryptonite in it, and it takes down Clark immediately after Clark sees the little projection of him destroying Earth.
Well, yeah, because
What do you think
kryptonite
about this?
pops out. So
Yeah.
just, I mean, Clark. At this moment, it definitely seemed like yes, correct all in the
Yes,
game.
on the game, he is more physically
Lane is
imposing.
definitely more physically imposing. Um, and again, it's been a week and a half since I watched. Like I watched it that Friday because I
Yeah.
had time. So I'm trying to remember. I feel like he was hurt by Lois keeping the secret.
Yeah, but you didn't really have much time for anything because the
Yeah,
kryptonite hit
because
him, and
then
then the
like
shit started,
yeah, because
and
the
every
kryptonite. That's right. The kryptonite was there. He was getting injured by it, but because the kryptonite was in such close proximity to the ship immediately went into defensive mode. And I remember getting up and yeah, go ahead.
I want to say something too because I want to give this show props. It's probably the best look of how kryptonite affects Clark and other Kryptonian beings or Kryptonian things that I've ever seen.
It was
The
different.
first the thing going out the veins, that's normal, that's thing. But when you get Clark at the very end, like he's getting like pieces like growing out on him just like
Yeah.
you got with the robots, which I really thought that was fantastic. It's something new that you don't really see that much that makes it feel like it hurts more. Like sometimes what was it, Injustice, I think. Sometimes they make kryptonite not really feel, or even Superman and Lois, they don't make kryptonite feel like it should, like it's a very dangerous thing, or like that is the last thing that Superman should be touching. And Superman and
Well,
Lois, it feels like wears off quicker than anything in the first season.
similarly, we're gonna be talking about a Smallville episode later. Same thing where Clark is put in front of a ton of tiny kryptonite rocks.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's hurt, but then what's he doing? He's crawling around the ground, pushing it out of the way. Like
Hmm.
in the comics, well, then you can also go to BBS that you mentioned earlier. While he was being affected by the kryptonite, yes, he had enough strength to grab
Pick up the
the
spear and
spear and
fly.
attack, which has happened in the comics. Like
Yes, like that kind of stuff is
the
okay.
the initial like shock of kryptonite for the first time can be damning, but then over time, yes, it still hurts him, but he can push through it because he knows what to expect.
Yeah.
Similar with BVS here, and in Smallville, Superman, Lois, all of that, the kryptonite effects have changed over time for story reasons. This one, it's a moment of again, he was surprised at first. Now he knows what it can do, so he can put up some physical barriers as best he can,
Yeah.
um,
And
because he is going to use it later.
even to your point about Smallville, the first few seasons, even first 3 seasons, any time with Kryptonite, he can't, like, he's not very good. So
He can't
seeing that
move.
you're
Like
getting
he's on the
seeing
ground.
you can
Yeah.
see at a certain point he might be able to get to like push it away or something like that. Is something that would make sense to me. Like this is a new Superman. Maybe at some point he would be like cover it or anything like that. I just really enjoyed the effect of Kryptonite in this show. I thought it was fantastic, and
It was
I
different.
can't wait to
It
see
was
more.
definitely different. The crystallization on him, that was different. Yeah.
So when this happens, the ship activates and we get the 0 day again, and Sam Lane goes into PTSD mode. Bring his gun, and then we get all of the robots. I got to ask a question now. Earlier robots, they didn't have those 3 dots on them of lights, right? The earlier
If they
robots.
if they did, I didn't notice it.
If they didn't, because we would have noticed that, because you notice it right away here that these robots, the attacking, have a 3 light symbol that is very similar to another villain that we may get into in a little bit here.
Yeah.
And all the robots get shot out, and we get Clark fighting them, and they're chasing after Jimmy and Lois. And then this is something that I really enjoy. Jimmy accidentally like pops open the kryptonite circle again, and it hits one of the robots and immediately immobilizes them. And they realize that they can use this to, because it has the same effect on all of this Kryptonian tech.
Yeah.
So we get a whole takedown of all the robots by Jimmy first on the ground, and then Superman. This is a very emotional moment. What do you think about this, where he has his?
Well, I am intrigued that um this kryptonite is crystallizing on these robots, and
Yes,
Clark is able to walk up by them and not be affected by that.
it must not be kryptonite that crystallizes. Maybe it's just their
Okay,
body that crystallizes, like a
but it's the
piece of
same. I mean, it's the same stuff that crystallizes
color.
on
I
Darth
know.
Vader.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, I
Mm.
don't, it's different
I don't
color. It
know.
looked. I mean, I'm not sure, but uh,
Again, week and a half. I haven't. I can't
yeah.
remember.
So we get a good, like I said, a good goodbye here, where Lois is pleading with him not to go, not to do
We
this.
also get a moment here where, or is it? No, it's when he comes back. Never mind. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he kisses her, tells her he's gonna be okay, and then takes the sphere on this like a little bit out of this like slyness and goes off. What do you think about this final showdown here, where Superman takes on some of the robots? His father comes to
I'll say
help.
not only Superman, Jor-El pops in
Jor-El.
and is helping him on the way because, and it's a big moment because in the beginning, Clark is thinking, Kal-El is thinking that his dad is trying to take over the world.
Yeah.
This is the moment where it's like, no, he's just as much of a prisoner as Clark is. So it was a good moment. I really liked it. Strong moment because it just shows that he he could be the hero that the world needs. Yeah.
Yes, and it was pretty cool to see him persevere there while he takes the kryptonite piece in his hand and just pushes it through the main console and causes everything to just get destroyed. Randy O'Donnell says the Gerard Christopher Superboy series had kryptonite being very lethal, and Superboy's skin slowly turns green. They didn't
Okay.
do that in Superman Returns, Man of Steel, or Superman and Lois.
Yeah.
Correct.
Superman returns when he's lifting up a whole island of kryptonite.
Kryptonite, yeah, is the one that is the ultimate BS. But like I said, even like the other two, he is right there. It
Yeah.
isn't
Good
even
job, Randy.
featured. It's not even
Thank you.
featured in Man of Steel. Randy's right there. So yeah, it again, I really enjoyed this, and we get at the end here, Superman's father sends him back to Earth,
Saving
basically
him,
saving
essentially.
him,
Yeah.
and the whole ship gets destroyed. Superman lands, and then General Lane is standing there ready to shoot him, and Lois stands in front of him. What do you think about this final scene with them, where she tells his father to leave him alone?
I mean, it's Lois realizing who he is, how he knows about this everything, and I think she even pieces it together that he was the one torturing Clark.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, she, as much as she loves her dad, as much as she's trying to impress her dad, he's never done anything to earn that respect and that
No,
love. Whereas here is Clark literally saving the world again, and all he wants to do is just protect her.
yeah,
So of course she's going to be all for
some great
Superman,
emotional beats here in this episode. So he
like the final
leaves.
scene.
Yeah, he leaves, and we get the final scene of them all sitting around. Clark has to heat up the bird with his heat vision, uh,
Naturally,
and they sit down to eat Thanksgiving, and then uh, Jimmy just casually blurts out, "Yeah, I sold Flamebird for $5.8 million. I'm rich now." Woo!
which
Very funny, and I
is
can't wait to
hilarious.
see what he does next season with it.
If I remember correctly, there was a storyline where Jimmy Olsen in the comics was a millionaire. And naturally it changed him a little bit. Now, I also wasn't reading a lot of Superman at that time. I think I had dropped off because this was in the 2000s somewhere. I think I was just mainly just still Batman and crossover or events.
Hard to keep up with everything, especially even back then
Dude,
compared to now. Ugh.
yeah, yep.
Hmm.
I've got a ton of comics over there where literally for like a good 5 years I was buying every single event, every single like tie-in, and then I'm like, why nothing? The tie-in is one page. I need to stop this.
Yes. Jeez, there's been some to tie-ins. Oh my god. So, Joe, we get to the final scene where we get across the universe. Brainiac informs a Kryptonian warrior of the rebellious Earth as a new planet to conquer, and the warriors like humanity will kneel, and I think that means that warrior is General Zod. So I think that's the second villain. I think Brainiac is under the control or stewardship of General Zod, and I think that I don't know if we'll get to see both of them next season or not. I'm hoping to see Lex Luthor come about. I'm not sure if that's going to happen though, but I really enjoyed this first season. I thought this was a great season finale, and I can't wait to see what we're getting season two. But that's already shot, I think.
I believe it is. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I don't. I mean, I hope it is because if it's not, it's gonna be like a year before we get it. But I feel
Uh,
like we're gonna be getting like early 2024.
let me see here.
Regardless, the ending with Brainiac and potentially Zod. I think you're right. I think Zod is the leader. Brainiac is the tool. Uh,
Mhm.
that's just every single like he is controlling Brainiac at the moment. That's why he's got the armada that he has. But I don't know. I think it'll be fun.
Just want to see if there's
Any
gets
word?
released update. Uh,
Nothing.
during no, okay, there's nothing there. I'm not gonna read through that
Okay.
whole thing.
No, we're
Yeah,
good.
so
It's
really
it'll
enjoyable
be next
first.
year sometime, but
Yeah,
we'll see.
really enjoyable first season, and can't wait for more. This was like Joe said earlier, pleasant surprise as we were debating reviewing this or not.
Yeah.
Joe, let's take our final ad break of the evening, get into some news before we talk about our Smallville retro recap. Listeners, we're an ad-supported network. We don't pick the ads or the volume. I'm going to give you a quick 3 count to adjust your volume, and we'll be right back in 3, 2, 1. And we're back. Okay, Joe, we got some news, not a lot, but some news that we got to catch up on before we
Yep.
talk about the Smallville retro recap of this week. First up, Blue Beetle box office update. Blue Beetle holds strong this weekend. It grossed $3.8 million to get to 63.7 million US, eyeing a 70 to 75 million US run. That is from Luis Fernando. And there's a digital release listed for September 26th on YouTube Movies, so not a whole lot of time left in theaters. What do you think about this number and Blue Beetle performance overall in the theater?
Um, Lower than I would have liked it, but not bad.
On the game says needs to be a big enough gap between Aquaman 2 and Superman Legacy. What will fill in the gap in 2024? Joker 2?
Joker 2.
Uh,
Um,
no, Creature Commandos.
yep.
That's essentially what I think on the game.
And maybe My Adventures with Superman.
Yeah, maybe. Or maybe Doom Patrol. Who knows how long they'll hold that.
We
So
got a
Joe,
release date. Calm down.
I think those numbers are at least reputable for Blue Beetle. I hope it gets somehow can get a little bit like closer to 100 million. I don't think it will since we
I
get a
mean,
September 26th date here. It seems like so we got a
that's
couple more
only
weeks.
like 2 weeks away. Like it's
Yeah,
not.
so it's not hitting that domestically, but let's
No.
hope that it made enough to at least make its money back. And so Warner Brothers Animation, this is something that is a little interesting to me. Released information that it's going to be a three-parter. The like upload was animation director Warner Brothers Justice League Crisis 1, 2, and 3. So it's potentially talking about doing this in 3 parts. Do you think that's a smart idea, or would you want to see it all conclude in one film, animated film?
No, on the one film because you're gonna miss out on lots of things. Christ on
Yes.
Infinite Earth was their baby. Like it was a 12-issue miniseries plus all of the tie-ins. Like it's, or I guess yeah, no, it was miniseries. Maxi series, whatever. Like 3 films, awesome because they're animated films, which means they can do a lot more. So like they'll be able to, and break it up into 3 movies. You can have the beginning of the Monitor, finding
Would
everybody.
Could it be more like Final Crisis, Infinite Crisis?
That's a possibility too. Where I think if they go that route, like it would be Christ on Infinite Earths. Probably, I would love to do Identity Crisis, but that is a whole separate thing. It would probably be. I can't say Final Crisis.
Identity Crisis, Final Crisis, and Infinite Crisis. I don't know. Looking at them there in the bottom.
Yeah, it could. It would probably. Could they just had something that was actually the Crisis? It would have to, if they do it that route. It would be Crisis on Infinite Earths, Infinite Crisis, and then Final Crisis.
And
but I hope they don't do that. I hope they actually kind of like make this out into 3 films. Like it's just Crisis on Infinite Earths is 3 films.
Yes, do your version of Crisis on Infinite Earths like the CW did, but do it your own way. I would love to see that. I'm hoping that's what we get. And for myself, I think that 2 and 3 parters are the best thing to do for these films.
You can actually tell a story.
The Dark Knight Returns Part 1 and Part 2, and then the Death and Return of Superman, like the 2-part films. There are 2 of some of the best DC animated films. So let's hope that we get more just in that vein. So I'll take 3 any day. Randy says Blue Beetle costs 120 to make, 50 or 70 million, 50 or 75 million in market. It needs 300 or so to break even. Won't come close to that likely, and 140 global, but 7 more than Shazam. Like I said, DC's not doing great. I know that they thought Shazam would make more than Blue Beetle. Randy,
they thought Flash was going to make a ton of money too.
They thought Flash was going to make bank with all those Tom Cruise plugs, but again, still, let's hope that Aquaman does well. And again, I hope that Justice League, the Crisis animated film, is broken up into 3 parts because that would be so much better, and that could help fill some of the gap until we wait for the DCU to start. Joe, James Gunn has started following Giancarlo Esposito on Instagram, and Giancarlo said before the strike that there were talks, actually during the strike, during a Comic-Con, said that there were talks prior to the strike for him to join the DCU. Do you think he could? Would he be good? Any characters in mind that you like to see him play?
I mean, he does a wonderful villain, but I also don't want to typecast him.
I'd love to see him as Roz. I'd love to see him as Roz, but I know we want other actors there, which I'm fine for. I just think he could pull it off quite well.
He definitely could. Easily. He could do Lex Luthor. He could do Ra's al Ghul. Like
it's just it all depends on what you want for your Lex. It's all depends on what you want for your Lex Luthor. Really, do you want him old, young?
I mean, Esposito's not that old. He's like what, 50 something.
So this was funny. I thought this was a funny little thing to put in here. A PR firm, this big article broke with Vulture, and it said a PR firm has been manipulating Rotten Tomatoes movie scores for over 5 years by paying critics directly. Are we surprised? Joe's putting
my
the surprise.
Face. It looks just like my normal face. 100%. I want him to be somebody. I want him to be a hero.
Yes.
Or even just like, I mean, hell, make him Perry White. Why the hell not?
Ooh, I like that idea. Yeah, so I just thought this was hilarious too. Rotten Tomatoes. It's not something that I use, but again, it is by the general audience. I do remember Allison saying to me, "This has." Let me go check see what it says about Rotten Tomato score.
Well, because for the
movie to go to see, and I'm like, "Oh my god, no! We're going to pick our movie."
Yeah, a good while there, that's what everybody used. Everybody used Rotten Tomatoes or IMDb. They checked the scores before they actually went to movies. Like, oh well, critics. Everybody says this is crap. I don't want to waste my money on that. Nowadays, and again, like we stopped listening to Rotten Tomatoes years ago,
but
yeah, just nowadays it's like I'm not one bit surprised that this information came out.
It's just funny to me, and again, I'd rather read the actual critics' review just to see, and there's a couple critics that I trust to review, but not a lot. So,
Oh, interesting.
the in terms of the saddest stories that I don't care about at all, Warner Brothers Discovery expects earnings hit of up to 500 million from strikes this year. I just want to say, oh, boo,
Yeah,
hoo.
exactly.
Uh, on the game says for the topic prior, Dan Murrell had a very measured take on the story. He highly recommended it. I'm probably going to go check that out on the game after we're done here. Yeah, so WB, all these studios, stop telling that you're losing money like that. Nobody cares. They're literally asking for not even 1% of your revenues. So you probably wouldn't lose this money if you would just pay it out already. So
Weird how that works when you actually pay your employees what they're worth.
yeah, it's shocking to the shocking concept
I'll be talking a lot about that next couple weeks.
and we support you here on DC Alliance. We are
I
pro
know you
union.
do. Yes, we are.
Uh, so a couple scoops, Joe, to talk about before we end out the news here. Um, my time to shine had a couple things about the Batman. First of all, he's
You have
reporting
nothing else
that
going on.
first off, he reported that if the strike settles, it'll begin filming in 2024 of March, and Clayface is rumored to be involved in the film. And also that Dick Grayson is going to be in the film and be around 13 years old in the Batman Part 2. What do you think about both of these potential possibilities for the Batman?
Clayface, I'm for. I've been wanting Clayface and Mad Hatter in a Batman movie for at least 5 years now, if not longer. Um, Dick Grayson, I would love to see Dick Grayson in a movie and actually not be a 30-year-old playing an 18-year-old.
Doing
Um,
towel, doing laundry, karate.
um, that being
Ooh, I like that. You could be Batman, Alfred out there. Alfred, we need to go sit you down for a second and talk to you about secrets.
um, is it needed? Probably only because people have been clamoring for a Nightwing solo movie for so long, but I don't want it to be forced. And
That's
I
a
mean,
good point.
the bad thing is unless you're going to show Dick Grayson lose his family, which honestly you don't have to.
No,
Like you could do it to where and it doesn't have to be like Bruce at the circus. Usually that's how he finds out, and he feels sorry for him right there and then, and he adopts him, yada yada
I did
yada.
like how they did it in Batman Forever, where Two Face was like, "Batman's in this crowd, stand up now." I did really like that.
But I think they could have it to where he is watching a news segment and he hears about it happening at Haley Circus here in Gotham, and he feels for him, and then he wants to try and find out more about him. Like it's you don't have to where you didn't show the Waynes dying in the Batman. You don't have to see the Graysons dying in the Batman.
You could even have Alfred the way this Bruce is. You could have Alfred be the one to see that on TV and take pity and
Easy,
want to
yeah.
bring him in or feel bad. Joe, I'm gonna be.
At the same time, you can even do it. This is literally a cop out, but you can do it off screen. You can
Yeah,
literally start it out and oh, this is my ward. His parents died, like just in the voiceover, and now he's part of this my family.
that
I don't.
works. It does.
It. I mean,
You
it
could
can,
devote a scene to it, but again, it works if you need to fit it in. Like you don't have the time to fit in the
and
story.
it's right there in the beginning. You don't have to wait 30 minutes to 40 minutes to oh, bye Graysons,
I'm
bye
half and half.
Graysons.
I'm half and half for this, Joe. I'm all for seeing Dick Grayson, Nightwing, in the Batman. I do not want to see Clayface anywhere near Matt Reeves' universe with a 10-foot pole because I think he's not going to use him as powers. He's going to have him like he did back in the first appearances where he was like a masked villain, like that could like, yeah, there
And
is
that's
a.
bad.
I wanted him. I want to see Clayface in full fantastical villain mode,
You
like
get that
shooting his clay.
eventually.
Yeah, I don't think you're getting that in Reeves' world. I
And
don't.
you don't need to though. Like you could have him in the masks all the time, and doing all the stuff. And maybe those masks are affecting him because they've got some Acme poison or something in it, to where by like the end of the film you see his like skin sloughing off or something. Like, you don't have to have him the full fantastical right from the
But I
get-go.
want to see him the full fantastical. I'll just see him all the time, like, oh my god, just take out the mask, like pump get him as Clayface. On the game says, will the more fantastical villains in the new DCU be how they differentiate both Batman universes? I
I
think
think
that's
so.
definitely a
Yeah.
possibility. Which, again, I'd rather see the Joker, Two-Face. There's a few more villains,
You want
grounded villains
you want
that I would.
street level villains is what you want.
Yeah, for that universe. For
Which
the
100%. You can have
DCU, I
Scarface.
want the
You can
I
have
want.
Scarface over there. Like,
Oh my
that would be
god,
an
yeah.
interesting one.
But I'd like to see, I'd like like if you did Brave and Bold, I'd like to see him catching the ventriloquist as the first opening scene. Like, I'm okay with
That'd
those
be
kind of
great.
villains, like odd villains, anything like that. It's just I don't want to see them in Matt Reeves' universe unless he's going to lean more into the fantastical elements, which it could be a possibility after year one. Like, you get more fantastical, you get more crazy villains. Maybe you get a Mr. Freeze, maybe you get a Clayface. So I don't want to rule it out
Do
in that
you
universe because Matt Reeves is such a good director. But
do you think
ooh,
yeah,
DCU, it's gonna have James Gunn's gonna have him on so many role, like, he's gonna be so jacked up. It's not even gonna be. It's gonna be
yeah, but it's gonna be
animated.
Batista, and he won't need to be jacked. But also, didn't they like say Reeves had a plan, an idea for Bane?
I think so. Yeah, Angel Manuel Soto said he wanted to, and they said I think he's gonna be used by Reeves. Something along
So
those lines.
I honestly, he would work in Reeves one. Well, look, he could work in both, but if you stick to OG Bane, if you stick to Nightfall Bane, where he is a brilliant tactician and just outsmarting, outplaying Batman left and right, yeah, Matt Reeves Batman would be wonderful.
Hmm.
Doesn't have to be fantastical.
No, but again, I would like to see Clayface fantastical. That is a hope of mine one day.
I
Um,
just want to see Clayface.
So the final thing, Joe, if funny, I always read out these, and most of the time you and I have no idea. The Raka says John Raka, who hosted part of the trivia that we ran last year for Travis Snell and the Geekverse guys uh, fundraiser for Charity Hospital. I'm pretty sure it was again. Um, he came out with supposed scoop that is his source is supposedly 60% right, which is really weird. Um, we have an authority lineup. Ginny Sparks is played by Keira Knightley. Apollo is played by Alexander Skarsgård. Midnighter is played by Sam Worthington. Engineer is played by Kiki Palmer. Doctor is played by Riz Ahmed. And Jack Hawksmoor is played by Gerald Butler. And the villain will be Kazai Gamaran, played by Kim Watanabe. What do you think about this lineup? Do you think this is real, or why would you put it something that is 60% accurate?
I know all those actors. I like all those actors and
Yeah,
actresses. Um, the only characters I know are Apollo and Midnighter. And actually,
I,
those two, for Skarsgård and Worthington, for those two, I'm fine with that. Like, that actually would be kind of awesome.
I did laugh at it. It's supposedly 60% right. All I could think
It's
about was
whatever.
that Anchorman quote: 60% of the time it works every time. Yeah, it's just again, I'm open to anyone in roles. I do think this is going to be a good film. I can't wait to see it. Joe, that was it for the news here today. We have our Smallville retro recap, a really good episode, season 3, episode
Was
8, Shattered. What do you think about this episode, Joe?
I remembered this episode when it aired. I remembered parts of this episode from when it aired. Rewatching it, I'm like, don't remember this beginning part. I don't remember all the Morgan Edge stuff, but I
Yeah, I
remembered Lex
do.
going
That.
crazy, and I remembered Lana getting hurt.
Hmm.
Um, Other than that, great, really good episode. Really,
Good
really good
acting
episode.
by Rosenbaum. I really enjoyed this episode, like him potentially going crazy.
There
Clark
was,
Clark having to not say anything at the end and let him go out be dragged off to keep a secret. That was pretty rough. That was one of the
yeah,
worst times Clark has been.
that sucked.
Yeah.
Um, there was a moment where uh, Lionel is at the Kent farm talking to the Kents, and Chloe's there, and I'm watching it, and Lex is in the barn looking out, and all of a sudden I see Chloe like laugh, like it's the back of her, it's her back, and I see her like laugh in
They
Tom Welling's
talked
shoulder.
about that in Talkville.
I specifically went to Talkville to see if they were going to mention something because I
You
didn't
did.
notice it when I first aired it, when I first watched it.
Yeah.
And Tom Welling's like, yeah, like when I was watching this time, I saw Allison do that, and I don't know why. But then when I looked at it, you saw
John
um
Schneider laughing as well. Everyone but
Snyder,
Annette O'Toole.
yeah, everybody's just like grinning and like trying to not break character.
It looks
But
like something Annette O'Toole said, which is funny. Very funny.
yeah, so I don't
Yeah.
know. I found that hilarious.
This was, like I said, I really enjoyed this episode. It showcases Rosenbaum as Lex and some of his acting skills. I thought it was great. They had on Taco, they had Algo and Miles Millar on there talking about the episode, which was fun, enjoyable. Miles Millar took a shot at Henry Cavill out of nowhere for no reason, which was odd to me.
Interesting.
Yeah, he just said he didn't like him. He thought he was wooden and not a good actor. And I was just like, okay, we weren't even really talking about that. They were just heaping praise onto the other two, saying they were the best portrayals, and then he just went off saying that one wasn't very good. So it was a little odd. Yeah, I had that thought. Just look when I
Okay.
listened to it. Yeah, I was like, why?
Because why?
And I still really enjoyed their breakdown and talk about the show. I really enjoyed when they're on. This was a good episode, Joe. I can't wait to watch the next episode of Smallville, to be honest with you, after watching this episode. Watch this one today as well. So I'm excited to get into the next episode, see where they go with the storyline. I know it wraps up pretty quickly, just being in the mental hospital part for Lex, but
Yeah.
I, I can't wait to see this and what happens to Lionel going forward because of it.
Don't remember that stuff. What happened to Lionel?
The main gets. Remember next season we get that wicked episode where Clark and Lionel switch places.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, Lionel's in a
I
place that
I do remember that. Okay,
yeah, it's not a mental hospital that Lionel's in.
gotcha.
So Joe, that pretty much wraps up every. Oh wait,
One last
on
thing.
the game says wish most, if not all, the 10 announced DCU projects have writers, directors, showrunners named. I do as
Same,
well.
but I mean, I think there was. I'm not saying that it was very ambitious by Gunn, but I think it was one of those things where, hey, like we've got stuff going too. Here we go. And honestly, he may have people in mind already.
Yeah,
Like how quickly were the rumors swirling that Muschietti was directing Brave and the Bold? Like
and
that
then
was
he's like,
pretty
yeah,
early. You also had Mangold for Swamp Thing.
Swamp
Like
Thing.
that was another pretty early one. I guarantee these all have. Like James Gunn has an idea of who he wants to approach.
He has
for
a
each
first
of
and a
these.
second choice for some of
Yeah,
these. So again, I do think all of these are going to be named. There is a debate. I think should this have been announced? Should this have been waited until Aquaman January of this year, this coming new year to be
would have
announced?
put
Or
something out for 2024.
yeah,
But
so what was up there for 2024? But Joe, that pretty much wraps up our episode tonight. It was nice to catch up after being off last week. Listeners, we'll be back next week with more DC goodness. Later, everyone.
bye, y'all.
And if you can find Doom Patrol somewhere, please put it out, everyone. Ciao.